Well, we've shown that the complainant has not been entirely truthful in his evidence in relation to this issue of collusion. If he's been untruthful about that, then what else has he been untruthful about? Welcome to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about cross-examination, and I'm going to focus today on destructive cross-examination and specifically how you can generate inconsistencies between witnesses. So I've created a lot of videos on cross-examination, focusing on how to expose inconsistencies within a single witness's testimony. Today, I'd like to just focus on how you can generate inconsistencies between witnesses, how you can expose contradictions between two or more witnesses. And I do want to say that the more witnesses a party calls to give evidence at trial, the more likely it is that witnesses may contradict each other. Because it's human nature. We don't have perfect recall. Human beings make mistakes. Human beings perceive things differently. And so there is a real opportunity for the cross-examining advocate to expose the inconsistencies and also to generate inconsistencies. Okay, so let's have a look at how we can generate inconsistencies between two witnesses, a complainant and a witness who witnessed an assault against the complainant. So in this scenario, you can see on screen, we have a defendant in a criminal case. He's been charged with ABH, and his defence is self-defence. And the allegation is that the defendant assaulted the complainant, Connor Collins, at work, and this was because of a dispute about pay. And the assault was witnessed by William Wells, another employee. Now let's imagine then that you are the cross-examining advocate. You're representing the defendant. The complainant has been called to give evidence by the prosecution. He has been examined in chief, and it's now your turn to cross-examine the complainant. So this is a technique that you can use to generate an inconsistency between witnesses. Now you have a hunch, a theory, that the complainant and William Wells have discussed the assault since it took place, and therefore that their testimony has been tainted, influenced by each other's recollections, memories. So here we have the cross-examination of the complainant. These are some of the questions that you might want to ask in order to generate a contradiction. So the first question, now William Wells has worked at your firm for about 8 years. I'm assuming that in examination in chief, the prosecution would have asked the complainant about William Wells. And presumably the complainant would agree with that. Next question, you know each other quite well, don't you? Well, I think that's obvious, isn't it? If they've worked together for 8 years, they must know each other. So again, I'm assuming that the witness would agree to what's been suggested. Next question, in fact, you socialise with each other outside of work. Now, I'm assuming here that this information has come from the defendant. So the defendant has told you, the advocate, that they socialise together. So that's why you've put this question to the witness. Next question, would you agree that you are friends? It might be that the defendant has conveyed this information to the advocate, to you, and so that's why you're suggesting this to the witness. Hopefully the witness would agree. If the witness doesn't agree, you can always go back to, but certainly you socialise with each other outside of work. Next question. Before giving evidence today, did you discuss the case with William at all? Now here we're starting to ask about then the collusion. Now if the witness says, yes, we did discuss the case, then that's a win for you, because you can explore how often, you can explore when was the last time, and then you can suggest to the witness that his evidence has somehow been tainted or influenced by what was discussed. But if the witness says no, I think you could go on then to ask the next question. Did you discuss with him the evidence that you will be giving to the court? And the witness might say no. You can then go on to ask the next question. Did you discuss with him the evidence he would be giving to the court? And if he says no, okay, fine, leave it at that. You can't suggest to the witness that he did discuss the evidence with William, because you don't have any information to that effect. So you can't suggest that to him. So if he says no to all of these questions, that's fine, leave it, move on to your next topic or your next issue that you want to cross-examine him on. So we've asked these questions of the complainant. You can assume that after your cross-examination, the advocate for the prosecution will re-examine this witness. And so the next thing that's going to happen is that the prosecution will call the witness, William. The witness will be examined in chief, and then you as the advocate would cross-examine William. So here we have some questions that we're going to ask in cross-examination, and you will have noticed that the questions are the same questions that were asked of the complainant, and in relation to the issue of collusion. And what you're doing here is asking the same questions because you want to compare the answers that William gives with the answers given by the complainant. Now, if William answers yes to those questions, then you can probe a little bit further. And so once I've established that he has discussed the case with the complainant, I will then ask him how many times they discussed the case and when was the last time possibly that they discussed the case. I wouldn't probe any further than that. I have established my objective in establishing that they have discussed the case with each other. I wouldn't ask what exactly was discussed because I don't know what he's going to say, and I don't want him to say anything that could in any way undermine my case. So I'm going to leave well enough alone. The next thing that I would do is to suggest to him that his evidence may have been tainted by what was discussed, that his evidence has somehow been influenced by what was discussed. I think I would leave it at that and then just move on to the next issue. So what has been achieved by generating this contradiction? Well, we've shown that the complainant has not been entirely truthful in his evidence in relation to this issue of collusion, discussing the evidence with William. So if he's been untruthful about that, then what else has he been untruthful about? So perhaps we've been able to undermine his credibility, and perhaps the tribunal will lose trust in him as a witness and in his account of what happened. Also, we've established that the recollections of the witness and the complainant may not be entirely independent. And so their evidence may somehow have been tainted, been influenced by what they were told by each other. And so by generating these inconsistencies and highlighting them in your closing speech to the jury, you have weakened the prosecution case. So that's one way that you can put a wedge between witnesses, that you can generate contradictions between witnesses. There's lots of other ways and lots of other techniques that you can use, but that's just one way. Now, if you want to learn more about cross-examination techniques and how to effectively cross-examine a witness, then I have the course for you. It's free. I have a free workshop that I'm going to be conducting in November, and I'm going to be talking about cross-examination, but also examination in chief. So if you're interested in attending my online workshop, then click on the link below. More details on how you can apply to join the workshop. I hope you found this video useful. I'll see you soon.